cheap computers is where it's at. If you can build a computer for cheap or just put one together, you can make some money. Case in point, Optiplexes, Lenovo's, HP over here, and there'll be dedicated separate videos for these talking about the price to performance and how much they are worth it. But those computers, especially these old office and workstations, people tend to throw them out real cheap. I mean, I've seen them go as far as $20 to $40. Not so long ago, there was a guy in my area. He had a lot of HP and Dells, and he just wanted $20. And these were Intel 6 gens, pretty decent. And you could throw in a cheap graphics card in for it, a SSD, be into it probably about $100 and sell it for about $150 to $160. Works very well, performs very well, and people will scoop them up. It just depends on the price that you get your stuff for, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, one thing I have learned going down these routes, graphics cards can make or break the budget. But if you're looking at the marketplace, and I've been on the Facebook and all the other ones, used graphics cards have been pretty cheap. I've been able to get 2060s, 1660s, anywhere from about $60 to $80. It's been really good to get into those low range to mid range gaming PCs. But then what about the graphics cards that just pop up and something that's old, like a 560 Ti or a 780 or something like that? Are they really worth it? Or the ones that show up that are broken, needing repair? I mean, if you can get a cheap graphics card, that's the way to go. In today's video, we're gonna be focusing on this cheap graphics card, which hopefully I can bring it back to life and pop it into one of my budget PCs. So let's get started. So now this one was in a trading deal that I got. A guy had bought a computer for $200. It was complete junk. And this was actually supposed to be an RX 580. And well, it's an R9 270. Long story short, the graphics card did not work. I really didn't test it or mess around with it as much as I should have, primarily for time constraints. But I have a bunch of cheap computers that I'm trying to move out, just mostly cleaning out my inventory. And I wonder if I can save this little guy. So let's see what we can do for it. Now this is my test bench, and the reason why there's a towel over it and it's in a box because, well, this sits in the garage, and I got to protect it from the dust, the bugs, and any other things that go floating around in the garage. So yeah, if you guys got a test bench or work in a garage in an area that's dirty, Amazon box and a towel, this thing still looks brand new. So now I haven't tinkered with my test bench in quite a while. I was actually thinking there was a graphics card on here, and there's not. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it in this test bench. I've seen this happen where certain computers, the graphics card will work, other computers it won't. Maybe I'll get lucky. And if I do, then that's awesome, but it might make for a shorter video. So let's see what happens. Let's pop you in. Nice crunch. This one uses a 6-pin. Let's flip you around, pop you in just like so. HDMI, sure. My USB dongle for the keyboard that probably every tech in the world has. If you work on computers, I'm sure you have to have this keyboard. This is like the best thing ever. Don't game on it though, it sucks. Power. Well, the fan on the graphics card spinned, so that's more than what it did before. Oh wow, I got a screen, so that is very weird. So the computer that this was originally in was a i3 6100 or something like that, and along the building in it became an i5 6400, and this is an i7 8700. So that's quite interesting that it would not work on that computer, but it works perfect on this one. I don't know. I was actually expecting no screen or anything like that, so okay, I'll take it. So let's go ahead, install the drivers, and let's run some tests on it. And it worked fine. I've been running Heaven Benchmark for 30 minutes, and this card works fine, which is weird. That other computer, the card would not do anything. I even tried it in another computer I had around here, and it works fine there too. So I'm not sure why it didn't work with that one computer. So if you ever run into that or know why, definitely comment down below. So now for the temperatures, Believe it or not, the fan is not that loud, so that's kind of cool. Heaven Benchmark is not showing me that, which I've had that with certain graphics cards. It is what it is. And hardware monitor also will not show me that. So text power up, GPU Z will always tell the truth. 70 degrees Celsius. That is pretty toasty for a graphics card that is not in a case. Instead of just ending the video here and just saying, hey, it works, let's take it apart, clean it up, and see if we can get those temperatures a little better. So using the trusted iFixit toolkit, definitely not sponsored. Unless you guys are watching and want to sponsor me, definitely reach out. And this is not the right bit for it. Probably need a 1 instead of a 2. Much better. Now I think the shroud also needs to come out on this card, so let's get these out. Now that comes out, not too bad, little bit cake of dust, but you know, we could live with that. But why not make it better? Thermal paste, not the worst, not the best. Use these alcohol wipes just to get that up. Same thing right over here. Let's dust all this stuff off. And same thing right over here, but I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is, because I see 3 screws, just take this fan off, and it'll be a lot easier to get into the heatsink. A little twist tie for this. That's pretty cool. Haven't seen that. All right. Fan, the same thing, just brush all this off. So now that that's clean, let's put it back together. And yes, I did mess up the sticker. Unfortunate, but you'll never see it. Throw in some thermal paste. This is some MX5, which I'm just trying to finish up. And that's probably way too much. Perfect. I would say it looks better, but darn. Oh well. You'll never see it from a helicopter. The greatest feeling in the world is when you take something apart and it still works. The card works, so I didn't screw it up. So now I've been running this for 30 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. And our temperatures, 67, 68, still a little toasty, but it's got a Mickey Mouse cooler on it. It'll be fine, and it will definitely work. So let's try a game or two and see how well this performs and wrap this up and give you some thoughts. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, still my all-time favorite, and I still like to use this for testing and all that good stuff and showing how well this thing works and doesn't work. So 1080p low settings, we're probably gonna average about 25 to 30 frames per second, but looks good, still playable. Once we finish this test run, then we'll see exactly what our specific averages are. So our average is 37 frames per second, 28 is our minimum. Not too bad, respectable. I mean, this little guy has 2 gigs of video memory, so it definitely gets the job done for a cheap build. Let's take a look at one more game and we'll wrap it up. And of course, the Fortnite. So 1080p low settings, I mean, we're at about 120, I think a player versus player or battle royale. I had it drop to about 80, so still respectable and pretty decent. I mean, this little card, I think they go for like $20 to $30, so definitely gets the job done. And this will actually be good for the potato build that I'm putting together. So let's wrap this up. So I'm not sure what's the deal with this card. I mean, I still can't explain why this card did not work in that computer. I mean, it is what it is. I did get a better card for that computer and I was able to sell it, but I went back and looked at the footage, even some of the footage that didn't make the final cut of the video, and I tried a bunch of different things and I could not get this card to work on that computer. Never seen that happen before. But working in the bench and working on some other computers, and it works fine, so definitely not sure about that. So all in all, it's still a pretty decent card, and it will work for, you know, a potato build, cheap computer, and that's why I like to find cards like these, because like I said, I get a lot of people that reach out and they're looking for computers between the $100 and $150 range, and with a card like this, I could definitely get them a computer like that. A card like this, you're not going to go for the whole 1440p 4K gaming. It works really good for 1080p low settings. You'll get 30 frames per second in some games, other games 60 frames per second, and to be able to play the games that most people are asking for, like Fortnite, Dota, Apex Legends, Among Us, and a few other games, this works really good. Now, a lot of modern titles, you're going to find that the card doesn't have driver support, or it doesn't have the whole, you know, digital thingy mabobbies that require it to run those games, and that's to be expected. Now, when I sell a computer with a card like this or these potato builds, I let them know exactly what they're buying. Hey, this will play, you know, the more common games. It's not going to play at the latest and greatest, but it's enough to get your feet wet, and they understand. I also offer them another option in case they want to spend a little more for something better, but this stuff like this sells real quick. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. Do you still think this stuff is junk and e-waste? Do you even still mess with it? I do. There's a market for it. People like it, and it's really cool. If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.